Look at this. We're on.
Hey guys, it's Kirk at Willie's. I'm about to go on one of my favorite missions of subject matter discussion, the Tube Screamer. Done my whole life with the Stratocaster, a Tube Screamer, into some kind of a great clean amp. Today we're plugged into the car Rambler, and we're going to talk about Tube Screamers modded by the original inventor that we're getting out of Godlyke distribution. So back when Tube Screamers, along with a lot of stuff in our guitar world, as they would build the model for the year, they sourced their parts, and things changed over the years. The first Tube Screamer was this 808 essentially, and over the years of production they used many different chips. This same chip manufactured in a different year is going to have different performance. So when Mr. Tamura went back, he tested hundreds of these 808s to find the good ones. Then he was able to narrow it down to which IC and the production period. It's not good enough to just get the JRC 4558 because they are made in China, Taiwan, all over the place. He sourced these. I did see if I could try to figure out which one it is. There's no printing on the housing for it. So outside of that, which is one of the big mods everyone does when on a Tube Screamer, on the 808 version here, he specifically picked out these new old stock Toshiba silicon diodes. What are diodes for in a pedal? They're for clipping. That's what gives you your harmonic structure kind of. So going to that specific magic chip and then the combination of those diodes. Another big thing he did, you've probably seen the Keeley modded 808. They have a true bypass switch. This is not a true bypass switch. This is a heavy duty momentary switch that was put in to utilize the buffer of the original switching technology. Now when he went to do the TS9, which was a later rendition of the Tube Screamer, he decided to use the same magic chip. These pedals are only going to be available in a small amount because there's only so many of these original chips left. Then TS9 he did a lot more modification to. Those same chip, but now he's using Vichy diodes for the clipping in that, and they're like not a silicone, they're a glass housing one that has a different overdrive texture to it. And then all of the capacitors, resistors, and the audio path of this pedal got upgraded to higher quality. So very specific things that were changed, specific brands of tantalum capacitor. Everything was sourced and sorted to get the best performance out of it. In the part of the pedal where the 9 volts coming in, that's not an audio path. That's just providing power. It's less crucial there. Everything your guitar runs through, upgrading that, is kind of like the Dumble approach. Get the good components, put them in, and then he also shifted the mid on these, which is the modern ones that you see. The mid is kind of mushy, and it's lacking a clarity. So he changed some of the components in that to move up where that mid is. And then he changed some resistors on the buffer circuit. What is a buffer circuit? If you have all true bypass pedals, each piece that's plugged in this is draining your high end. These modern pedals, a lot of them have these buffers, and what that does is it brings your signal back up, so by the time you get it to the amp, it holds it in, it tries to reduce signal loss essentially. So when you're dealing with these Tube Screamers now, there's big differences in their tone, but the beauty of this pedal when run into a tube amp is when you roll that volume off, it cleans up like an amp that's about to explode. So what I mean by that, here's just a good basic tone, clean, add in the TS9, and now just a great overdrive. But you back your volume knob off in your guitar and it starts to clean up, and you can just kind of dial in a little bit more grit. And a lot of guys will use these as a boost function too, where you can take the gain back down and then turn a volume up, and you can get just a slight grit out of it. And the TS9 has a lot of body to it. Now we're going to turn on the 808 here, and that's a heavy duty switch. These are designed to last. That was the biggest failing component in an 808, was that switch, because it's just a little spring and a tiny tactile switch. Making room for this thing, major improvement. One noticeable difference tonally with the 808, it's a lot more transparent sounding. There's a bit more of the guitar's clean tone that's coming out of it. So maybe I'm biased. I do love tube screamers, and I highly recommend plugging in a couple of these and giving them a go. There's not going to be a lot of them left. Like I say, they's using that specific chip, and once they're gone, they are gone. So here's just a little tube screamer fun to leave you with. Tube screamers.